Now I'm finally getting to the real point of why I started this channel. A one-day visit to a place where you can see the vast majority of everything interesting. I love to travel, but I have this distinctive style of getting the most out of a place in the minimum amount of time. This style of travel may not suit everyone, but I'd like to share it and maybe you'll like it. It's a lot of walking, but of course you can always cut your trip short by taking public transport or a taxi. However, the whole route is always manageable on foot. You'll walk about 15 kilometers in a whole day. I give a few interesting facts about each place, which you can listen to beforehand or on the spot. I also don't forget the refreshment stops at places that are worthwhile. In the video caption you will find a map to help you find all the places and walk through them in the most interesting route. During the whole trip you won't have to spend a penny on the entrance fee, you'll see all the essentials anyway. However, if a place catches your eye, I also list the price of admission in 2024. But if you don't visit the places, you won't miss much. So let's take a day trip around Prague together. But before we start our trip, I'll give you a few tips. Prague, like any big city, suffers from tourist traps. Never change money on the street. Never withdraw money from ATMs other than those of well-known banks. Never go into shops promising to sell addictive substances, you won't buy what you think. Never contribute to charity, it's not charity. And if you visit a mini market, beware of the prices. To give you an idea, the price of a large bottle of water in a supermarket is about €0.50. So if someone tries to sell it to you for €4, you know to walk away. As for restaurants, lunch should be around €10 and tip no more than 10%. Plus, it's voluntary. So if they try to charge you without your permission, it's a scam. But now let's go to the start of the trip begins at a place typical for many tourists. At the Czech National Museum. It is a Czech cultural and historical treasure. Its imposing building dominates the area and provides a great starting point for a tour of the city. A walk through the National Museum's exhibitions is like a journey through time. The collections include a wide range of exhibits from the fields of natural history, art, history and ethnography. From dinosaur fossils to rare works of art, there is something for everyone interested in culture and history. The recent renovation of the National Museum, which was completed for its bicentennial in 2018, has brought not only modern and attractive exhibitions, but also improved interactive opportunities for visitors. For history lovers, the National Museum is an inexhaustible source of information about the past of the Czech lands. The exhibitions here chart important events and epochs of Czech history, providing a fascinating insight into the past of this beautiful country. If you are looking for a fun and interactive form of learning, the National Museum offers various programs and exhibitions for adults and children. These activities combine fun with education and guarantee an unforgettable experience for the whole family. Admission to the National Museum costs about €16 and you can spend long hours visiting. But now let's move on. Wenceslas Square is one of the largest and most famous squares in Prague, the central point of the city and an important place for public events, shopping and tourism. Wenceslas Square stretches for about 750 meters from the National Museum to the new town. It is named after Saint Wenceslas, the patron saint of the Czech Republic, whose statue stands at the upper end of the square. The square is lined with historic buildings, shops, restaurants and hotels. It is an important commercial and cultural center of Prague, where a rich variety of architectural styles mingle. Wenceslas Square is also an important venue for public events and demonstrations. In the past, important events such as the Velvet Revolution in 1989 took place here. Once you have had a good look around the square, I recommend continuing to the Lucerna Arcade, which can be entered directly from the square. At the end of it, you'll find a piece of artwork hanging from the ceiling, inspired by the statue of St. Wenceslas. However, here the horse is upside down. If you then head to the right of this statue, you will find the entrance to the roof. If it is open, be sure to visit it. For one thing, you will see a beautiful view of the center of Prague, but that's not all. There is also a paternoster lift here. Paternoster is a special type of elevator, which differs from regular elevators in the way it moves. Instead of the traditional up and down movement, the paternoster moves along a circular track in the shape of the letter O. This type of elevator is often used in historic buildings and usually has an open design, meaning that passengers enter and exit the elevator without doors. The paternoster is sometimes considered a rare attraction and many people have come to love it for its nostalgic and unique experience. But now it's slowly coming time for brunch or snack. Head out the exit by the roof and a few blocks away is Rohlíku. This is an unusual takeaway where the food prepared by the chefs is served in a classic Czech roll, similar to a hot dog. In the roll you can taste goulash, chicken on paprika, boar meat or Nutella. There are also great soups on the menu. The place has 4 whole 7 stars on Google and you can eat here for about €3.50. I recommend taking your food a few meters away. Franciscan Gardens. The Franciscan Garden is a hidden treasure in the heart of Prague's Old Town. This quiet and peaceful corner is easily overlooked in the crowds of tourists, but those who find their way here will be rewarded by the charm and atmosphere of the place. The garden is named after the nearby Franciscan monastery, which is located next to it. Monastery gardens were a common feature of monastic architecture in the past and often served as places of meditation and relaxation for the monks. A walk through the garden offers beautiful views of Prague Castle and the surrounding historic buildings. It is an ideal place to relax after sightseeing in the area or just for a quiet moment in nature. The garden is decorated with flower beds, trees and benches, making it an ideal place for a picnic or relaxing with a book in hand. In the summer months, the garden transforms into an oasis of calm amidst the hustle and bustle of the city. For tourists looking for an escape from the hustle and bustle of the city, the Franciscan Garden is a great choice. It's a place where they can put their worries aside for a while and just let themselves be carried away by the peaceful atmosphere of this magical corner. And after refreshments, back into the city to the Powder Tower. The Powder Tower is an iconic landmark in the center of Prague that attracts tourists with its history and impressive architecture. The Powder Tower is one of the last surviving remnants of Prague's medieval city gate, which once protected access to the Old Town. It was built in the 15th century as part of the city's fortifications. Architecturally, the Powder Gate is significant for its tower-like shape and Gothic elements. Its tower reaches a height of over 65 meters and is decorated with beautiful sculptures and reliefs. The Powder Tower has a rich history. It has witnessed many important events, including uprisings, festive processions and historical meetings. Due to its strategic location, it was also an important point in the defense of the city. A visit to the Powder Tower is like a journey back in time, to a time when Prague was still a center of medieval trade and culture. It is a place that should not be missed by any tourist seeking to learn about the history and charm of ancient Prague. A tour of the Powder Tower costs about €8. But now we're heading towards the very center of Prague on this side of the river. The astronomical clock, or the Old Town Clock, is a unique historical attraction in the center of Prague that fascinates tourists with its ancient mechanism and symbolism. The Old Town Astronomical Clock is one of the oldest astronomical clocks in the world and one of the most famous tourist attractions in Prague. It was built in the year 1410 and is still functioning today. The astronomical clock is located on the southern wall of the Old Town Hall in the historical center of Prague. Every hour, a picturesque ceremony is held there, during which the original mannequins open a door and display the figures of the apostles, while the astronomical clock itself shows the current time, the movement of the sun and moon, the zodiac and astrological symbols. The symbolism of the Old Town Clock is rich and fascinating. In addition to time, it also shows various aspects of astronomy, animal symbols, and symbols of animals that are associated with various astrological signs. The astronomical clock is also associated with many legends and legends. One of the most famous is the legend of the master clockmaker Hannes, who is said to have been blinded so that he could not build any other clock to surpass the beauty of the Prague astronomical clock. Every day, tourists gather around the clock to watch its unique ceremony and capture the moment when this ancient mechanism comes to life, reminding us of the legacy of the past and the changing nature of time. The Old Town Astronomical Clock is not only an architectural gem, but also the symbolic center of Prague, bringing a piece of history and the mystery of the past into our days. The astronomical clock can be climbed for about €16. Old Town Square is one of the most famous and picturesque places in the center of Prague, attracting tourists with its rich history, architecture and atmosphere. Old Town Square is the historical center of the Old Town of Prague and one of the oldest in the city. Its origins date back to the 12th century, when it was established as a marketplace in the center of the city. The square is surrounded by several important historical buildings, including the Old Town Hall with its astronomical clock, Kinsky Palace, Teen Cathedral and the Baroque Kinsky Palace. The central feature of the Old Town Square is the Old Town Hall with its tower-like facade and the famous astronomical clock, which attracts tourists from all over the world with its ceremonial ceremony every hour. The square is also often the venue for various events and festivals, including the Christmas market and New Year's celebrations, which attract thousands of visitors. The area around Old Town Square is lined with cafes, restaurants, shops and historic streets that invite visitors to stroll and explore the picturesque corners of Prague. But enough of the crowded places, it's time for a bit of a break. We head to the Vltava River, to Střelecký Island. Střelecký Island is one of the largest islands on the Vltava River in Prague. It is located between the Old Town and Malestrana and is easily accessible by a bridge over the Vltava river. The island is an ideal place for walks and relaxation, away from the bustle of the city. Its picturesque promenades, trees and benches offer visitors a peaceful setting for rest and picnics. Shooting Island is also known for its rich history. During the Middle Ages, it served as a marketplace and a venue for various events and celebrations. Later, shooting competitions were held here, giving the island its name. Today, Střelecký Island is a popular place for locals and visitors to Prague who come here to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life and relax in the beautiful natural surroundings. For the most part, it is not built up, allowing visitors to move freely and stroll around the island, either to discover its charms or just to relax under the treetops and admire the beauty of the surrounding landscape. For tourists looking for a quiet and picturesque place in the heart of Prague, Střelecký Island is an ideal choice. It is a place that offers a unique view of the city and the opportunity to enjoy a pleasant time spent in nature. I hope you had a relaxing time. Let's go up the hill. Or maybe not. This is the only place I recommend paying to get in. And that's for the cable car that goes up to Petřín Hill. Not that the journey is that difficult. Plus, it's a nice walk. But the unique cable car ride is really worth it. It's only about €2.50. Petřín is a hilly park area in the center of Prague, which attracts visitors with its natural beauty and historical monuments. The most striking monument on Petřín is the Petřín Lookout Tower. The hilly terrain of Petřín offers spectacular views of Prague from various angles. It is an ideal place for walks or picnics with family and friends. At the very top you will find a mirror maze with an entrance fee of €5 and the Petřín Lookout Tower, which is also worth it and costs about €9. The Petřín Tower is a landmark of Petřín and one of the most famous symbols of Prague. It was built in 1891 as a smaller replica of the Eiffel Tower in Paris and offers panoramic views of the entire city. For visitors who want to enjoy the panoramic view, it is possible to climb the stairs or use the elevator that takes you almost to the top. Petřín Hill is also rich in natural beauty and includes various species of plants and trees, making it an ideal place for walking and relaxing in nature. A visit to Petřín and the Lookout Tower is an unforgettable experience that will give you a unique view of Prague from above and bring you peace and relaxation in the shade of the trees. Visited? Now we're back down the hill for some rest. On the way to other sites, it's definitely worth a stop at the Scout Institute in Brána. If you catch the menu, you can eat here for about €8. I can recommend a few more places to eat, though, so there's no need to eat here. If you just want something to drink, you can buy a good coffee or beer here for about €2 or €3. Plus, it's a quiet place with a beautiful view of the river. And now, towards Kampa. Kampa is famous for its picturesque streets, historic buildings and breathtaking views of the Vltava river. It is an ideal place for walks and relaxation away from the bustle of the city. The island is home to several important monuments, including Gnostic Palace, Kampa Park and St. Clement's Church, which bring a rich history and culture to the area. Kampa is also known for its artistic atmosphere and is home to several galleries and art studios that contribute to Prague's rich cultural life. For visitors looking to relax in nature, Kampa is the ideal place to stroll along the Vltava river or relax on the lawns of Kampa Park. Kampa is also associated with many legends that give this place a special charm and mystique. Overall, Kampa is a unique and picturesque place in the heart of Prague that attracts visitors with its romantic atmosphere, rich history and natural beauty. And not far from here you will find another interesting place. The Lenin Wall is located on a small square in the lesser town, not far from the Charles Bridge. It is a brick wall that has become a canvas for graffiti and street art, especially since John Lennon and the Beatles became a symbol of freedom and peace. The wall has become a place where people from all over the world come to express their thoughts, feelings and messages of love. It is a kind of place of spontaneous expression where visitors can let their creativity flow and share their thoughts freely. One of the distinctive features of the Lenin Wall are drawings of John Lennon's portraits, inscriptions of the Beatles songs and various messages of peace, freedom and love. The wall changes regularly, with new paintings appearing and old ones gradually overlapping, making it a dynamic and vibrant art installation. The Lenin Wall is also a venue for various cultural events such as music concerts, performances and art events. It is a popular attraction for both tourists and locals who come here to find inspiration and share their thoughts. Overall, the Lenin Wall is a unique and inspiring place in the heart of Prague that symbolizes the spirit of freedom, peace and love and brings joy and inspiration to visitors from all over the world. I hope you have rested, because we are going uphill again. Prague is just the way it is. If you need to replenish your supplies, I recommend stopping by the Toro bakery on the way, where you can find homemade desserts and perhaps the rolls they make here in lard. You'll also find a fairly inexpensive Vacek grocery store nearby. Although you're in the very tourist center, you won't be able to buy here at friendly prices. Now for the promised hill, which you climb up Nerudova Street. Nerudova Street is one of the most picturesque and characteristic streets in Prague. Its narrow streets, historic houses and stone pavements make visitors feel like they have stepped back in time. The street is lined with several important historical buildings, including the Schwarzenberg Palace, which is now home to the National Gallery, and the Three Gentlemen's House, one of the oldest houses in Prague. A walk down Neruda Street is like a journey through time, taking you through historical periods and giving you a glimpse of Prague's rich history and culture. Neruda Street is also associated with many legends that give this street a special charm and mystique. Overall, Neruda Street is one of the most characteristic and picturesque places in Prague, giving visitors a unique insight into the rich history and culture of this amazing city. The street will take you all the way up to Prague Castle. If you haven't eaten properly today, I recommend the local restaurant Kuchyň. It is located almost near Prague Castle in the premises of the National Gallery Prague. You can eat here for about €20, but the gastronomic experience is worth it. Prague Castle stands as a symbol of Czech statehood and history, attracting the attention of visitors with its impressive architecture and rich history. This historic complex, which stretches across the hilltop above Prague, is not only the seat of Czech monarchs, but also a place where a rich variety of architectural styles, from Romanesque to Baroque, mingle. Among its most important buildings are St. Vitus Cathedral, the Old Royal Palace, Vladislav Hall and others. Every corner of Prague Castle tells stories of the past, whether it is the nooks and crannies of the narrow streets, the beauty of the royal gardens or the impressiveness of the castle courtyards. For visitors, it's like a journey through time, allowing them to immerse themselves in the rich history and culture of this fascinating place. The Cathedral of St. Vitus, Wenceslas, and Wojciech, often referred to simply as St. Vitus Cathedral, is the most important sacral building in Prague Castle and one of the most important Gothic monuments in the Czech Republic. This imposing cathedral, which took several centuries to build, is a symbol of Czech national identity and an important place for coronations, weddings and funerals of Czech rulers. The construction of the cathedral began in the 14th century and lasted until the 20th century, which explains the variety of architectural elements that include Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque and Neo-Gothic. The most striking part of the cathedral is its dominant tower, called the South Tower, which rises above Prague Castle and provides breathtaking views of the city. Many works of art can be admired inside the cathedral, including magnificent stained glass windows, statues and altars. Particularly notable is the Chapel of St. Wenceslas, where the relics of the Czech patron saint, St. Wenceslas, are kept. St. Vitus Cathedral is not only an important spiritual center, but also a major tourist attraction, attracting thousands of visitors from all over the world every year. It is a place that impresses not only with its architecture and artistic heritage, but also with its history and importance for the Czech nation. The cathedral is also free to visit, and in my opinion, that is quite enough. However, if you want to see the whole thing, it will cost you €18 for the cathedral and €8 for the entrance to the tower. Another interesting part of Prague Castle is the Golden Lane. If you've been through all the places I've listed, you should get here just in time. If it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the entrance to this alley is free. Otherwise, the price of admission is about €10. The Golden Alley, originally called the Alchemist's Alley, was established in the 14th century and served as a residence for castle guards and then for goldsmiths and alchemists. The houses in Golden Lane are small, colorful and narrow, giving them a fairy tale appearance. In the past, the houses were inhabited by a variety of people, from guards to artists and craftsmen. One of the most famous inhabitants of Golden Lane was the famous writer Franz Kafka, who lived here in 1916. Today, the houses in Golden Lane have been converted into shops, galleries and museums that showcase traditional crafts and art related to the history of Prague Castle. A visit to Zlatá ulička is like a journey into the past, giving you a glimpse into life at the castle in centuries past and discovering the unique atmosphere of this historic place. Now I have good news, we're going downhill. Next stop, Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge is one of the oldest and most famous bridges in Europe, connecting the old town with the lesser town over the Vltava River. It was built in the 14th century and took more than 50 years to build. The bridge is named after the Czech King Charles IV, who had its construction started in the year 1357. It is an important symbol of medieval Prague and its historical heritage. Charles Bridge is decorated with 30 statues of saints and patrons, which were gradually installed from the 17th century onwards. The most famous statue on the bridge is that of St. John of Nepomuc, to which various legends are attached. The bridge is a popular place for strolling among tourists and locals alike. It offers breathtaking views of the Prague skyline, whether on a sunny day or in the romantic evening hours when the bridge is illuminated by lanterns. Charles Bridge is also often filled with artists, street musicians, painters and souvenir sellers who contribute to its lively atmosphere and movement. Overall, Charles Bridge is one of the most important symbols of Prague, giving visitors a unique view of the history and beauty of this amazing city. But now we're going to take a break from the sights and take a look at the modern face of the city. We will walk along the Vltava River to the Dancing House. The Dancing House, also known as Fred and Ginger, is an iconic modern architectural landmark in the center of Prague. Built in 1996, this unique house provides a contrast to the surrounding historic architecture and takes its place as a symbol of creativity and innovation in the city. Designed by Czech architect Vlado Malunek and Canadian architect Frank Gehry, the Dancing House earned its nickname due to its shape, which resembles a dancing couple. With its modern aesthetic and functionality as an office and retail space, it attracts the attention of tourists and locals alike, who enjoy viewing its unique design and admiring the beauty of its modern architecture. It is only a short walk to the embankment. Náplavka is the bank of the Vltava River that stretches from the National Theatre to Vyšehrad. It is a popular place for walking along the river, cycling or just relaxing on the bank. Every Saturday, Náplavka hosts a traditional farmers market where local farmers and artisans offer fresh food, handmade products and other interesting products. Náplavka is also a center of cultural and social events. Concerts, festivals, theater performances and other public events are held here. Here you can taste interesting beers and other alcohol. For lovers of gastronomy, Náplavka is a paradise, as there is a wide range of restaurants, cafes and bars offering different types of cuisine and atmosphere. If you are in the mood for wine, I recommend not to miss the Nábré Hrona. It's a cozy place where you can taste different wines at reasonable prices. After that, we really have one last uphill journey, but I promise it will be worth it. Vyšehrad is considered one of the oldest settlements in Prague, with a history dating back to the 10th century. The fortress served as a royal residence, a defensive castle and a strategic point for the protection of Prague. Part of Vyšehrad is the Basilica of St. Peter and Paul, which is one of the most important churches in Prague. This Gothic church is the burial place of many important Czech personalities, including the composer Bedřich Smetana and the writer Karl Čapek. Other important monuments in Vyšehrad are the Napoleonic Barracks, Leopold's Gate and the Necropolis, which houses statues of important Czech personalities. Vyšehrad Cemetery is also known for its historical value and is the burial place of many Czech artists, writers and politicians. In addition to historical monuments, Vyšehrad is also a popular place for walks and relaxation in nature. The parks and gardens offer breathtaking views of the city and the Vltava River. Overall, Vyšehrad is an important symbol of Czech history and culture and one of the most popular tourist destinations in Prague, attracting visitors with its beauty, history and atmosphere. I assume you have arrived here in the evening, so you will experience an unforgettable view of the whole of Prague, which will be a beautiful end to the day. Thank you for spending time on a day trip through Prague. I hope you enjoyed seeing the beauty of the city. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your impressions and tips on other topics in the comments. Leaving a like will also make me happy. I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.